Scotland, about half the size of Karnataka, is home to over 150 malt and grain whisky distilleries. It is the world's largest producer of whisky and has held that title for well over a century. With numerous whisky-producing regions crafting exceptional spirits, single malts from Scotland represent the gold standard among whiskies. Iconic brands like Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, Macallan, Lagavulin and Lafroig sell millions of bottles annually. Limited edition releases by these brands cost a fortune and are snapped up instantly by connoisseurs. But these whiskies are not the most sought after. That distinction belongs to spirits from Scotland's ghost distilleries. Ghost distilleries are Scottish whisky distilleries that once operated but have since closed, sometimes for decades. Some were mothballed awaiting revival. The term refers to distilleries that ceased operations but still have aging barrels stored in warehouses across Scotland. Occasionally, these rare whiskies are released by their parent companies or independent bottlers, commanding high prices due to their scarcity. Scotland currently has about 30 ghost distilleries, including Port Ellen, Brora, Rosebank, St Magdalene, Capadonich, Inverleven, Glenury Royal and Little Mill. Some of these distilleries have recently been resurrected. To understand why these thriving distilleries became dormant, we travel back to the 1960s when blended whisky reigned supreme and single malts were virtually unheard of outside Scotland. Many of these so-called ghost distilleries supplied single malt whiskies to companies that made blended Scotch. The likes of Port Ellen and Brora rarely released their own distillery bottlings. In the late 1970s, after years of growth, the story began to turn sour for Scotch whisky. A confluence of factors such as overproduction, a global recession, and the rising popularity of lighter spirits such as vodka and white rum in the US led to the closure of a number of distilleries. Several distilleries were either shut down or mothballed by their owners, which included Diageo's predecessor, Distillers Company, and Pernod Ricard. The Distillers Company closed 11 distilleries in 1983 alone. But independent bottlers such as Gordon and MacPhail and Douglas Lyng acquired this bulk spirit and stored them in their warehouses. By the late 1990s, single malts were back in vogue, and soon whisky connoisseurs, forever in search of rare spirits, began seeking whiskies from the ghost distilleries. Ghost distilleries and their fine art stock had a huge appeal for whisky collectors. The whisky they were acquiring was not only rare, it would also never be made again. The fact that many of these whiskies were made using traditional methods also added to their charm. Several ghost distilleries use flow maltings and direct fired stills, which is a rarity in modern distilleries. Prices for both independent bottlings and special releases of significantly aged stock from the owners of the distilleries started to rise and have been rising ever since. Individual bottles of whiskies from the likes of Port Ellen and Brora regularly sell for over $5,000, while entire casks can cost over $1 million at auctions. In October last year, independent distiller Loch Lomond released a limited edition CDs of a 47-year-old whiskey from Little Mill, a ghost distillery that shut down over 3 decades ago. The whiskey was priced at $19,000 a bottle. Over the last half a decade, several of these legendary distilleries have started coming back to life. Diageo, which owns both Brora and Port Ellen, has resurrected both the distilleries, while Rosebank, which is owned by Ian MacLeod, restarted operations in 2023. While the whiskies will take time to hit shelves, aficionados believe that they will be well worth the wait.